But this is I guess a NAMBLA documentary. I don't really know. I don't know much about it, honestly. Going in a little blind. I think I know what it is. But before I got sidetracked, I knew about NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, because I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school, and there was, just like with the Catholic Church constantly, there's always pedophilia scandals going on. And I was from Massachusetts. They have it a lot in Massachusetts as well. Check out the movie Spotlight. That's what they're literally all about that. And some of that stuff was happening when we were in high school. And I found out about this because there had been a bunch of priests from Massachusetts that were caught going to NAMBLA meetings. That they were like kind of ingratiated themselves, like they were priests that went to these things. And it's called the North American Man-Boy Love Association. They advocate for underage relationships. Like, so children with full-grown men, teenagers, full-grown men. And they've tried to include themselves in the same way that we've seen with MAPS, or with virtuous pedophiles. They want to include themselves as a sexual orientation. They want to destigmatize, they want to normalize the idea about being in relationships with kids. Saying that, and this goes all the way back. Go look up Foucault, Derrida, these postmodern philosophers of the 50s and 60s. That's really when they kind of took off, became popular. It infected academia. This kind of stuff is all over the place when you get into the deeper rungs of sociology. This stuff is all over the place in those classes. But anyways, let's check it out. I don't really know what to expect, so let's see what happens. This will probably be the show closer because it's kind of long. So I'm hoping for some good stuff, relatively speaking.
American boy. He looks like an all-American boy for sure. And he's just like a flower in bloom. He's at that perfect stage in which he is hermaphroditic. That is to say,
I think this is actually what I was
neither
looking
all
for.
male or all female. Not that anybody is, of course. Everybody is some mixture of those two characteristics, but he is at the moment in that wonderful limbo between being a child and being an adolescent. That is, he is certainly an adolescent at this point, but he still has this kind of soft, feminine grace about him.
We knew he was kind of weird. Like, we was walking up, and Michael thought he knew him. He was coming through, he was walking at my house. And Michael thought he knew him, but he didn't. He said, well, y'all want to ride? We said, yeah. And so we started going up the hill.
Mike was 12, I believe, and Anthony 13 when I was driving along the road in West Virginia.
I mean, this guy's just like an openly a predator. I mean, he's fixated on the kind of like the physicality of these kids, their nymph-like presence, their kind of sex neutrality in terms of the way their bodies have formed and stuff. Like, this guy's just openly a predator.
And Mike flagged me down to give them a ride. And the wonderful thing about it was that there was no fuss at all. They both went out of their way to flirt in their own way with me, just with joyfulness. I mean, just to say, here's the play of life going on, and here is something that's not seen by others, but seen and appreciated by me and the people who are participating. We're having a little play together, a little game.
What a fucking beast. He's like, they were flirting with me. They were being nice. They were flirting. They were joking. Kids joking around. Oh, it's flirtatious. These kids wanted to fucking suck my dick. We didn't know what percentage of adults are pedophiles. Nobody knows what percent of adults are pedophiles.
Were you ever in love?
No, because I don't think, I've never felt that I would be free to express any feelings that I had towards anybody.
I became sexually active when I was 8, but that was with younger boys. You know, the first boy that I went with was 7. At the time, we were best friends. And that went on for 2 years. I didn't have any relationships with an adult until I was 10.
I love them.
What is the in boys that you love?
I don't know. It's just I have all my life been attracted to younger boys. I go back from the time I was about 8 years old. I could say I wanted a little brother, and I've always just been interested in little boys.
I was flabbergasted like anybody else, but hearing this shocking type of ideas. And I investigated a little further, and I found out that lo and behold, this idea weren't that bad as they seemed to be from far away. And so, and then all of a sudden, all my...
What? He's like, no, I had all these secret desires. And then I repress them, I hold them inside of me. And then I meet these other pedophiles, and they say, oh no, our ego is fine. It is fine to feel this way. And I say, oh, does not look so bad, so close up.
Childhood memory came back to me, and I saw myself doing those acts with other children, and I thought that they were decent acts. I thought they were wholesome acts. I enjoyed myself, and I thought we had lots of fun, and I thought of those times with fondness.
As far as what actually happened, I thought I was talking him into it, but later I...
Yeah, so you know that the framing of this, a lot of the people that they talk to, they're at the gay and lesbian rights rally in 1993. And these people showed up because they want to be part of this. They want to be part of this movement back then. Even back then, all the way back then. This has been going on for a long time, folks. Fucking never let your kids leave their house. They're everywhere, even in West Virginia.
discovered that he enjoyed it a lot more than I expected, because I had been convinced by people that that kids that size aren't sexual, and myself, I really didn't have a lot of strong sexual feelings at 10, but this particular person enjoyed this quite a lot, it turned out.
I feel like this is like this weird thing where they try to, he's even kind of skewing away from the word she's like, no, this is like a person. He tries to like age up the concept of being 10. Fucking gross, dude.
How did it go? Well, I knew he was gay. He was one of my karate instructors, and you know, I just kind of came on to him, you know, and I knew what I was doing. You know, I was fully aware of what I was doing.
Milo Yiannopoulos, everybody.
You know, but I was very attracted to him at the time.
You felt you had the power in the relationship?
Mm-hmm.
You did.
Yeah, I felt very empowered by the relationship. I felt that I controlled the relationship. You know, which is a good thing for a kid, I think.
Yeah, it's super empowering.
And that also
normal and
tends
whatever.
to dispel the belief that you know, that adults are always the ones in power in such relationships. I let him around. You know, I was the one in power.
I'm definitely not out as far as being public about it. There are close friends of mine who know.
He's like, until right now, where I've come on camera, my full face in view. Now I'm out as a pedophile.
People I've known for years and know me well know. But as far as being out with acquaintances and companions that I have on a daily basis, I'm definitely not.
What we do know is that nobody chooses their sexual orientation, that people...
I just saw this comment. I remember you and Paul telling me about a skit you wrote where a Catholic priest starts chanting NAMBLA during a sermon. Yes. Yep, that's... that is true. That was 100% true. I can't remember all of the particulars of it. I'll have to ask Paul. He probably remembers. But yeah, because we were always thinking of skits and doing like shit like that. And when we found out about NAMBLA, and we found out specifically about the story of a Catholic priest going to NAMBLA meetings, that definitely spurred our imagination.
discover what's appealing to them. They don't decide what's appealing to them. What they have more choice or decision about is how they deal with such desires, whether they pursue them or not, or try to inhibit them, or what their attitudes are towards them.
I've been picked up where I worked. I've been picked up on the street. I've been called up on the telephone and asked to come in.
How many times have you sit in prison?
Huh?
How many times?
I've been in prison twice. Really, I just don't try. I try to avoid boys.
How do you do it?
And, like, this guy looks like you're like like your conservative grandpa.
Just avoid them.
And sometimes you can't.
Sometimes I can't, right? But pretty much I do.
Pretty much.
Live by myself and to myself.
And you're willing to sit in jail for your passion?
I don't have a choice.
I hadn't done anything. I'd never done anything, but I'd always heard things on the news and everything saying that anybody who liked boys sexually would be a monster and would kill these kids or would do these horrible things. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to stop myself from doing that. And so I had a war with myself for about 6 years. I went to therapy in many different places around the country, and finally I started realizing that they weren't being genuine with me. They really duped me. I was very well indoctrinated into the system.
I knew it was kind of risky that the FBI could have my name on a list or something, but the way I was getting so sick of the way things were going, it was worth the risk.
The North American Man-Boy Love Association was formed in 1979 as a support group for men who are sexually attracted to boys. Over the years, its membership grew from 24 to 1,500 members. During the day, Bob is a government lawyer. In the evenings, he manages the NAMBLA's national office.
Of course he's a fucking government lawyer. Of course. Oh, I wonder, no weird fucking connections there. And of course he looks like this. He looks like a fucking serial killer. He looks like a John Wayne Gacy.
The standard line is it's a political and educational organization. Most of what we do is print a bulletin. Bill Handels is the editor of the bulletin. This is for the person who handles the prisoner mailing. That is, we send out free subscriptions to those prisoners who are able to receive them, which is probably about half the people that want them. Most of the prisons in the West, for instance, won't take our bulletin, but they won't take any gay publication.
They won't take any gay publication. They won't take any gay publication. That's how he's choosing to describe it to you. And mind you, he's a lawyer. I'm sure those words were carefully chosen. Yeah, just completely normal stuff in NAMBLA. It's just a support group, dude. They're just there to support each other, you know? And print fucking lewd pictures of kids. Even the tape can't handle it. This VHS tape's like, no! It's Timothy Chalamet! Fuck it, this is making me sick. Look at this Bernie Sanders lookalike. Huh? Did you see this one, Todd? Beautiful kids. Beautiful boys. What? Like, what the fuck? Subscribe. Hold on, I gotta go back a second. What the fuck?
substituted work with NAMBLA for actually seeking out relationships with boys or having relationships with boys. Being very active with NAMBLA and having sort of a public profile, it would be suicidal to actually have a sexual relationship, an illegal sexual relationship with a boy in this society right now.
So I just look at pictures of children and I write articles and I talk about, you know, the future, and I masturbate a lot.
This is a person who's writing us for about the third time. He's either desperate or very, very pushy. Dear NAMBLA, I wrote your organization earlier this month requesting information on purchasing videotapes, magazines, and other materials, but all I got was political information, which is okay, but way too much, and information on novels, which would take 2 months before I'd even get them. I thought you wanted new members and supporters, and I also thought NAMBLA was supposed to help us boy lovers to get what we couldn't get in other places, materials. We have a standard letter that we send.
So some people, you know, they're stupid, probably, but they think they're like, oh, dude, this is a legit organization where we could get child pornography from.
Dear friend, please be advised that police and postal inspectors from this and other countries make a living by entrapping boy lovers who are desperate for the kind of materials you inquire about it, etc., etc.
Look at this fucking sweaty pig demon. How else do you even describe this motherfucker? I hope he's paid well. Or whatever. Do you think he's doing this for ideological reasons?
I mean, there's no other position we can take. It's difficult to know whether these inquirers are genuine or police agent.
Would it fucking matter if it was genuine? If it was a genuine request for child pornography? They're like, listen, we just can't know. I bet they're on the dark web now.
Or both. Probably there's a mixture, and a lot of them are just desperate and rather ignorant.
See, he's okay. This is a safe hug because these guys they're not each other's types. You know, they're too old for each other. So this is a safe hug. This is just a friendship hug, okay?
I don't know if I could be able to do it with you.
Oh, Peter. So many of the boys for whom they were then in prison came to visit the prisoner who had supposedly molested them.
Precisely.
See? This is the real fucked up shit. Like this is what we're talking about. We're talking about this weird fucked up rationalization, mental disorder. Completely like, oh no, the abused child, he loved me. He fucking loved me. No, yeah, I was abusing him for like 5 years and he loved me.
As an expression of their affection for the person with whom they had a loving and consensual relationship.
Thank you for taking that moral and beating it over the head into the opportunity to stage orgies has not yet occurred. Mm-hmm. And probably NAMBLA won't be around when it becomes possible to do so.
Look at this fucking demon, dude. He reminds me of that guy, what's his name? Fucking Barney Frank.
This is the poet Allen Ginsberg.
Sweet boy, give me your ass. Let me kiss your face, lick your neck, touch your lips, tongue, tickle tongue end, nose to nose.
So Allen Ginsberg was at a NAMBLA conference in 1989. Allen Ginsberg, you may know, is part of the Beat Poet era. Jack Kerouac, Burroughs, Ginsberg, others. I was never a huge fan of this era, so I don't read them. But that's where he comes from. And yeah, and Burroughs is the same way. He's a fucking lecherous old bitch too. Oh, so fucking disgusting.
Nose, why? Question. Ever slept with a man before?
In Europe...
And this is something, like, listen, in the gay community, this is not like an uncommon thing. It's even very mainstream that they talk about this stuff. There's a movie that is an adaptation of like somebody's personal memoir. I can't remember their name off the top of my head. It's called Running with Scissors. And there is a relationship in that movie of like a 15-year-old boy engaging in a gay relationship with a much older man. And the guy basically takes his virginity. And it is like tries to make this argument that like, well, you know, the 15-year-old, he came on to me, he wanted it. You know, who am I to deny him this? Who am I, the fucking adult with the fully formed frontal lobe? Who am I to deny a child something? So it's like a PG-13 movie. I don't even think it's rated R. It could be rated R. I'm not 100% sure. But that shit is totally in there. It's just something that is kind of mainstream. It's a story that a lot of like gay men have in their past, in their lives, about being groomed, and they have some sort of weird paternal relationship with an older gay man. And men, if nothing else, even maybe for evolutionary reasons, are predatory. Dudes like to fucking bust that nut.
Since the late 50s, support groups for pedophiles have been popping up to actively fight the age of consent laws. The Dutch have established the most liberal consent laws in the world. The official age of consent in the Netherlands is 16.
This is why Austin Powers' dad is so up in arms about the Dutch. They share a border with the fucking Dutch.
Yet adults are not prosecuted for engaging in sexual relations with a child above the age of 12, as long as the child's parents and the social worker approve.
Parents and social workers. So the state is even involved in Deutschland. The state is fucking involved. The state's like, yeah. How old is he? 12? How old are you? 47? Well, he says he's okay with it. I guess it's okay then. Hey, how does he feel about cutting his dick off and wearing a dress?
How many high schools are there around here?
Oh, there's
Not enough.
There's one science, and then beyond there is another high school, all within about 5-10 minutes walk of each other. This is very familiar. I moved here so that I would have a minimum of traveling time and could devote most of my time to work.
Oh, this brings back memories. This seems to be a problem on whether sex education.
This guy's got strong Woody Allen vibes. Just saying.
Should occur in the schools, and somehow it's not a problem in other countries. When I taught in Scotland, it was part of the science course. I like teaching because I like boys. And as I said before, liking boys doesn't mean that you want to have sex with them. Okay, it's much broader than that.
I don't know, I kind of think it's a disgrace, but then again, we never know who else. I mean, we never know if other teachers are like KKK members and stuff. So, I mean, we don't know about their past, and just because we know about one, you know? So, I mean, I think it's his business, but still, it's kind of disgusting. He works in a school with kids, and he's like...
Yeah, maybe he shouldn't be able to. If you're an out-and-out fucking NAMBLA member or whatever, maybe there should be some sort of suspicion there. Maybe it should disqualify you. Because it's like having an aberrant belief. If these guys are advocating publicly for lowering the age of consent laws, if you're part of an organization that does that, you might lead one to believe that you might have a sexual attraction to your students.
a child molester, but that's my opinion.
Don't you think it's a matter of concern to parents that someone who teaches their children would spend hours with them every day believes that what we consider child molesting should be legalized?
I'm busy. You're interrupting my routine. I'm going shopping. Thank you very much.
News 4 has learned that the Board of Education, the Inspector General's office, and...
He's like, nailed it, Chris. You avoided him again. Once again, evaded. He's getting off. He's just like, that fucking piece of shit.
Even a former
Question
principal
me?
here at the Bronx High School of Science have known about Meltzer's NAMBLA affiliation.
But he shouldn't be teaching.
Why not?
He should molest his 12-year-olds.
How do you know?
They said it on TV.
Parents that someone who teaches their children would spend hours with them every day believes that what we consider child molesting.
If you cannot judge a person by what he does, when he does it, but only by his thoughts and by his private activities, then you can't hire anybody. There'll be no one left to do anything.
Okay, so he's trying to make a principled argument about thought crime and about what you do in the privacy of your own home. Well, if what you do in the privacy of your home violates the law, then we have a problem, right? Because it doesn't matter if you're doing it in the privacy of your own home. Thought crimes, I think he's being a little disingenuous. I mean, not all thought crimes involve... I mean, I don't know. It's not, obviously, it's not against the law to look at one of your students and get a boner. Like, that's not illegal. Technically. Although maybe, I don't know, maybe it is. If you pop a boner in the middle of the class, would that be would that be against the law? I don't know. Let's see what he says. Will he elucidate us? Will we learn something new?
Well, one can't be angry at that. One can only say that it's sad that that at least the current society's mentality is such that this kind of argument works.
The whole thing about Mr. Meltzer is much ado about nothing. It's a load of crap. He didn't do anything. He's not an active pedophile as far as we know, and there's really no point in persecuting him for it.
Well, I wonder, did they, maybe I missed it, but did they say how everyone knows that he's a pedophile? Or did he just come out as a pedophile? Is that what the issue was? Because he became an activist?
Believes in a concept, then you can't persecute him for that. That's in your head. Then we might as well start persecuting everyone else, who has...
No, and broadly speaking, I cannot disagree with this. In terms of thought crime, I don't want to start going after people because they had an aberrant thought. But this doesn't seem like it's just a thought. It's like it's a lifestyle that he would like to act upon. I think it takes it a little into a different realm, honestly. It's not some sort of fleeting moment in his life. It's not some sort of weak thing that happened to him. It's a constant, it's a consistent part of it all. Right? I mean, that has to, you have to take that into consideration.
Concepts we don't agree with.
Dear Mr. Meltzer, please be advised that effective immediately, you're not to enter the Bronx High School of Science until further notice. Should you have any questions relative to these instructions, this kind of notice really hurts. And when I can look out my window and see the school, and it's like Moses looking across to the promised land.
But don't persecute me for thought crimes. Here's some cool art I did. Check it out. Fuck. That was an intense cut. Get your motor running. Hit it on the back roads. Looking
Leland
for
has
an
graduate degrees in
info.
law and philosophy. He has been a Mormon representative in Texas and a missionary in Hong Kong. In India, he photographed child pornography and was put in a California prison for 5 years.
Good. Good.
He is driving to his cabin retreat in the mountains of West Virginia.
Rachel, can I give you a little of this?
No.
Just a little bit.
No. Give them plenty of it.
What would you have for dinner, though? I mean, you better have some of this for your dinner, because we're...
He was a special friend that made friends with everybody.
This is
He took me to get my apples at the orchard, and we went on down to see the canaries and then to see the birds, the ducks.
In general, there are lots of boys that precisely want to do that. That is what they want to do. They make it clear, and they simply do it. They don't. That is to give a blowjob. That's what to give head, as the saying goes. That's what they want to do, and they do it. That is, this boy simply did it in a magnificently gentle, tender sort of way, in which you could sense he was putting his whole heart and life into this experience. That is what was so exceptional about it, and it produced a remarkable sensation, and I may say a rather speedy climax, in spite of the fact that it was being done in such a gentle way.
I mean, this guy is like creep number one. Creep number one. Oh, God, this is so fucking... Prophet says, I gotta go to bed after this, for God's sake. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Next week, we're gonna do a lighthearted nightcap, because we've had a couple weeks of just the darkest shit.
It's time to see what the thoughts come into your mind in such a time.
Curiously, the most powerful feelings that are evoked are religious feelings. I want to sing
Ninja
praises
guineas
to
are
the Almighty for having created anything so beautiful, so spectacularly wonderful.
Look at this. He's like this fucking educated cunt. And he's like, oh yeah, the beauty of this child, this boy giving me a fucking sensual blowjob, then I came super fast. I mean, just complete deviant. Just complete fucking... This is when people say, like, no, maybe you should just fucking do away with them. I gotta put this on YouTube. I ain't gonna say too much spicy, but, do away. Do away with people like this. This is who they're talking about. Because this guy is not just that he does it, he doesn't feel bad about it. He's rationalized it. He's romanticized it. He's talking about it in terms of being a piece of art that he experienced. Blah!
This is what is going on in me.
Anthony sat down next to me, and Leland was sitting there staring at Anthony. And that gave me the creeps. I mean, he was just staring, looking at him like he was a piece of meat, up and down, because Anthony just had a pair of shorts on.
Yeah, because it's not... exactly. See, this is the thing. It's not spiritual. It's not romantic. It's just like... It's like a fucking horny dude in a fucking bar who's had one too many shots, and he sees some fucking hot piece of ass coming in the door, and you're fucking... And you stare at him because you're too drunk to fucking wait, like, get up. And it's completely sexual. It's completely fucking just... Your basest inhibitions just fucking gone. You can't operate. You can't do anything. And you're there, and you're going to try to make a move, and you're going to sound like a fucking asshole. That's what that dude's like. Just like that's his natural state of being, is to be that horny.
Making excuses to pull up his shirt and show me his belly.
And this is another thing. They always project this courtship. Oh, he was trying to show me his belly. They got in my car and they flirted with me. Which I believe is this same dude that said that about those other kids. Like, it's always just like, no, they're courting. This is just, they're doing this themselves. Like, I have no power over what another person does.
A highly flirtatious way to any ordinary boy lover such as myself, a very exciting and appealing way.
Just the average boy lover, that's just, they just, obviously these little kids, they just innately intuit that this is what the average boy lover would be into. And they're trying to catch you as if they're a honey trap.
Our 12-year-old boy went out and met him, and he shook his hand, and we didn't think anything of it, but Jacob had to pull his hand away before Leland released his grip. My feeling is that he was feeling Jacob out, to see if Jacob was accepting to that kind of behavior.
He had picked up my son and a friend of his, and they were walking from my house to his friend's house, and he just picked them up, stopped, pulled over, asked them if they wanted a ride, and they accepted.
He's asking us questions like all kinds of stupid questions, and every time we'd say something to him, he'd take out a piece of paper and write it down.
Mike on one occasion and Anthony on another flirted with me, I thought, in a very flagrant but wonderful way. By flagrant, I mean they made it completely obvious that they were flirting in a sexual way or talking in a sexual way because this was their nature, because they were having a good time, because they understood that someone appreciated this aspect of their life, of their being.
This is so hard to talk about.
Yeah, just completely normal stuff, guys. Completely normal. Above board.
I mean, the thought of him living and waiting, for your child, waiting for you, maybe. What if you?
His name is D'Artagnan, and yes. I hope so. You would hope so, because this guy he's not just he's a really devious predator. He is the stereotype of what should I look out for? But it's that old trucker pervert dude, though. He's another example of holy shit, fuck, you can't trust anybody. Good thing I don't. Everyone's a pedophile until they prove to me otherwise. That's how I live my life. That's my code.
Got mad at your kid because he did something, you grounded him. So here he is, he's
look at him.
Bad.
Look at this guy. Look at what he's wearing.
And here comes along Leland Stevenson to go, oh, poor Michael, and I think that's how they work. They prey on these children and how they can stand up and tell people what they believe in and that there's nothing that you can do about it. I don't understand our judicial system, that's for sure.
There's another bakery down there.
Thanks.
Italian Food Center. Sandwiches and catering. Okay.
Kids love sandwiches. Let's check in there.
A little bit, yeah. I'll certainly eat something. Well, there's, I don't see too much. Looks bakery-esque in there for sure. Is somebody gonna call you up?
Is that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Get up.
So what happened?
What? You made the phone ring.
Oh, you made the phone ring. Oh, well, let's see how you did that.
Oh, like seriously. I mean, like it's almost like it's like he's laying it on a little thick right now. He's like, oh, there's cameras. Let me show you how I'd approach a boy.
You're just very quiet. No, you can't get in trouble for doing that.
No.
Yes, you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, not bad.
You answer it.
Hey, how can I get the secret?
Dial 660 on the next one. There you go. Cool.
660 and fill the rest out.
The worst episode of Nightcap I've ever seen. That's fair. The subject is definitely the worst. And I've seen them all. The most dedicated Zoobox fan. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dan. I didn't, this is where we ended up. Send me videos. We'll watch those instead next time.
The last 4 digits of that phone number.
Of that phone, 660 plus the last 4 digits of that phone, and that'll do it.
Yeah, but you
Very
can't give
good.
it to anybody else.
Oh, goodness,
You
okay.
don't do it to the phone.
That'll be our secret then.
No, that's on radio.
He was so eager to tell me when his birthday was, and he was going to be 15 in less than a month on the 1st of December. And this is what life is about. This is what real life is about. I would say that he was in bloom, and that's it. The flower is responding to one.
Look at what he's doing, though. Look what he's doing. Oh my God, this guy is sick. Fuck, and he's got like a psychological problem where he's like he feels like it's all meaningful and all purposeful. Prophet says, usually I'm hard as a diamond by this point in Nightcap. Now my dick just itches in a really burny way. Well, that's good, actually. I would say, considering relative to subject matter, I think your dick feels exactly the way that it should.
Warmth. That is, I as a human being am bathing him in a certain kind of celestial warmth.
He can't even get the words
he
out.
He feels that, and he responds to that, and he thinks, oh, how nice, how wonderful that there's someone there who is appreciating what I am and who I am.
He's like, and then I came on his face. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
With Jason, my first aim would be to get a feeling for his psychological space, which I may say,
oh my God,
I did.
No, you may say this is like some awful fucking thing to watch. Okay, you need to watch this. You fucking need to see these dudes, because this is something that is being. This is from the fucking 1993. Okay, think about today. Think about what's going on in these communities and what is being pushed on people, and the kinds of people that get involved in your kids' education and all that stuff. Like, these are the type of people that are there. These are the type of people that work in activist groups trying to normalize this stuff and trying to like bring like about like this idea that kids have just agency from the age of 4 to whatever to figure out their sexuality, and we as adults should respect that. There's a hugely weird sexual component to that, and like it's people like this that are actually at the forefront of this. Why wasn't this man arrested at any point? He was arrested. He spent 5 years in prison. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the guy. I think early on in the documentary, they kind of briefly say that. They go over it very quickly. But yeah, he did go to prison. I believe he went to prison for offending for 5 years. And then they have this other guy, the guy that had like the trucker hat on, the old man that was at the gay lesbian rally, that went to jail for twice. And I think he went to jail for 2 years each time. Because, he's just who he is.
I was talking to him while I was with him. I was attempting to evaluate the degree to which he is neurotic.
Most of the persons that I've worked with who have offended against children, I didn't feel did this with any kind of malicious intent at all. I think some of them didn't see this developing. They were drawn into the relationships in ways they didn't recognize themselves.
Drawn into relationships in ways they didn't recognize themselves. They're projecting that onto the situation. It doesn't have anything to do with reality, as we're seeing with this, the sweater guy, we'll call him. Like, he's completely, like, just fantasizing that this is what is being done, this is what he's involved in, this is what is being said, when it's very clearly just some sort of innocent interaction with a young kid talking to a fucking weird adult, joking around.
I saw others who genuinely fell in love with the child. It was really a romantic attachment. I think few of them
what does that mean, clinical
behave
psychologist?
this way simply for sexual activity.
I was walking along.
They keep going back to this, and the clinical psychologist has said this. How is it that the dipshit at Vice was able to ask a more insightful question than any of these motherfuckers about the nature of how they report these things, how they report their experiences, and how honest are they being? Like, what are we talking about? You're just going to take somebody that has this kind of a problem and you take him at face value. Oh, they tell you, hey, that's what they say. That's what they say. So I guess we're going to accept that.
Beach on one occasion and met a boy in his early teens who was friendly, open, appealing, and who was very responsive to my friendship. That is, not only was his space open, he wanted it to be open. He wanted to share his life with me. So in the course of our friendship, we went on a camping trip arranged by him, in which the intent was to achieve intimacy. This was his idea. And
good thing. I mean, look, you just have no agency as an adult. Like, you can't stop this. You can't say, hey, this is inappropriate, this is wrong. No, you can't do that. Oh, an impulsive teenager thinks he knows what the fuck is going on? Nah, there's nothing you can do, man. Nothing you can do. I guess you just had to go with the flow. Wouldn't want to offend this young man. After he goes through all the trouble of, booking a camping site.
In order to further this idea, he arranged that the sleeping bags would be zipped together so that there would be no barrier to the creation of this experience. Now,
look, he can barely get through this. He's like gulping. He's reliving this in his mind right now, and it's making me kind of queasy, making me sick. I'm not even kidding. I feel sick watching this. And more than I have felt about anything I've ever watched on Nightcap. I think we've reached the top of a kind of mountain.
With appropriate affection and fondling and whatnot, we passed the night, and on awakening in the morning, he positioned himself in such a way that nature would take its course, and he would experience within himself a part of the body of his friend. And so, laying as he did on his side and producing the natural consequence of this event, I may say that this was sufficiently stimulating that no lubricant was required. That is, nature or life simply produced its own for this occasion.
The fuck? Dude, like,
he
just... Hold on, I need a second. Wow. I guess maybe he's already gone to jail for this. Maybe this is what he went to jail for. He's like, hey, double jeopardy, dude. Like, whatever. I can tell the world now. I've already been to fucking jail for this. Oh, God.
experienced what he wanted to experience, and I certainly on that occasion experienced something that was very precious and fulfilling to me as well.
I'd probably kill him. Honest, I probably would, if he would have bothered my kids. That's why one of the reasons I wanted him away from here, because he wouldn't seek any help to stop this problem that he has. And if he would have got a hold of my kids, it wasn't any good to kill him or 100 of them then. So that's why I was trying to just kind of preventive medicine, you might say.
And see, this guy is like, you know, like the way they position this, they find this local yokel dude, and they try to make this guy look like a kind of a bigot. Oh, look at this dumb redneck who just can't accept. Look how violent and vile he is. Look what he's saying about Sweater Man.
Getting him out of town now.
But whenever people start shooting at him with rifles around here, I told him he better get out of here before he got his killing done.
I had, of course, various kinds of threats of death. It seemed that the universe was saying it was time to move on, at least for a while. I'm eager to bring this back another day, another time.
Why? Like, see, this is another part of like the kind of disturbed pathology. Like he's like, I need to bring this. I need to come back here and fuck with people again. Why? Just on a pragmatic level, just fucking move somewhere. Just fucking move somewhere. Then nobody knows who you are. Sweater guy.
In ancient Greece, it was common for mature men to mentor young boys, teaching them the arts or philosophy, while also engaging in sexual activity.
Yeah, it was not common. Saying it's common is a complete fucking misrepresentation. It was the intelligentsia, it was the leadership, it was the academics, it was the royalty. They would abuse boys. That was the thing. 100% sure. And they rationalized it by saying, we are teaching about life, we are teaching about every aspect of life, and this is part of that. And they used that as a pretext to rape young boys. That's actually what happened. It was not commonplace. Not everybody, your average person living out in the world in Greece was not out fucking kids.
With them. Sexual games between students and teachers were said to enhance the bond between them and thus facilitate learning. In Sparta, military tradition dictated that soldiers bring their young boy trainees to practice and battle. A soldier's courage was thought to be strengthened by his desire to defend his young lover and be a role model. Presence.
This is true. This is a thing, but we wouldn't consider this good or normal because it happened. They conditioned these kids. They brainwashed both of these people. You have the adult Spartan men that are all about honor, dignity, their job, told by basically the state, indoctrinated into this worldview and doing this thing and doing this to young boys and vice versa. Not a good thing. Like, their aim was not about, like, they didn't even care about that stuff. They just knew that a sexual component deepens somebody's bond. For better or worse.
Were given as rewards to the heroes of Sparta and Thebes. In Sicily, on Mount Eris, in the sanctuary of Aphrodite, boys served as prostitutes in the temples. In Delphi, boys were made to dance in front of Apollo's temple. The Romans, while generally disapproving of homosexuality, considered boys to be sexual beings. Nero, emperor of Rome between 54 and 68 AD, derived so much pleasure from his relationship with Sporos, a 12-year-old boy, that he married him in a public wedding. Following Nero's suicide in 68 AD, Otho inherited the throne as well as the boy. Like the warriors of Sparta and Thebes...
Yeah, this sounds kind of fucking awful, doesn't it? Doesn't all this shit kind of sound fucking awful?
Samurai warriors traveled and fought with their young apprentices. the young boys would learn the arts of sword fighting, horseback riding, and lovemaking. As late as the 1940s, the Itoro, Sambia, and Kaluli tribes of New Guinea practiced sex with children as a part of the traditional coming-of-age ceremony. Tribal elders were required to insert their semen into the youth's body. Semen was considered more potent than mother's milk and believed to enhance masculinity.
So hey, it's just a normal thing. I mean, they did it in fucking tribes in Africa in the 1940s. Let's put this into context, guys. Let's broaden out the conversation. Yeah, I think, maybe it's cool to say we've moved past those things. And we have for a while. Just staggering. Like, I don't understand why the documentary itself, the documentarians are like taking almost a defensive position about what we just watched, because that was obviously the most like extreme section, the most honest section, the most honest revelations we have seen thus far. So they need to broaden it out. They're like, oh, he's an educated man. Like, they have all these little things that are in there that are in your head, working in your subconscious. And then they decide to give you a history lesson after that. I wonder why. Are they trying to actually just like, oh, let's just make a fair case? A fair case for something like this? I don't think so. Excuse me, you don't fool me.
God calls homosexuality and lesbianism a horrible sin, but he wants to save you.
I can say that apropos of the occasion, it has many fond memories associated with it, in which boys have gotten to know the car and gotten to know me.
What a fucking creep. Holy shit. I'm angry. I'm like upset.
We're happy to be here. We feel that historically we are part of this movement for liberation.
Consensuality is the key. And unfortunately, I think that, being a survivor of sexual abuse, there's really kind of a thin line with power dynamics with older and younger people. But that doesn't mean that, at age 5, I couldn't have made my own decision, or whatever, 12.
Really? A fucking a sexual abuse survivor says, like, oh, at 5, I could have decided I wanted to have sex with a fucking adult. No, you can't. You cannot do that. I mean, even to say, like, at 18, it's like an arbitrary age. Yeah, but it's also based on some sort of, like, psychological and also physiological development. Like, there is something to be said about that in terms of like how you were able to process information, how you were able to think. To suggest at 5 or 12 that you can actually consent to something is fucking insane. It's about as insane as saying that a horse wants you to fuck them. In my opinion.
I, Stormy Waltz, do pledge that it is okay for me to be on TV talking about what I didn't know.
If anybody looks at them and looks at us, then they'd have to say, well, it's all part of the rainbow, all part of the...
See, this is the project of these people. And that goes all the way from back in the fucking 90s, from 1979 actually, when NAMBLA starts, all the way till today. This is the project, is to be included in those movements and to be a letter added to that acronym. I'm not fucking kidding. Like, that's what it is. That's what they're doing. And they're doing it for completely lascivious reasons. This guy is a complete piece of shit. This guy is a predator. He's a child molester. Like, wow. Like, I saw this years and years ago, but it is still, like, coming back now and watching it, fucking shocking, frankly.
The possibility of people living peacefully together, and that's what we're looking for.
But you understand that there isn't, that us or anybody else who's in this entire march today wants to have anything to do with those people back there.
We're not with those.
We're not with those people.
We're not with those.
We don't want to be connected.
We don't
with
want to be. We don't want to be associated. I'm an incest survivor.
What do you think about this?
These people are unfortunately borderline criminal behavior, and it is not representative of all of our community. They shouldn't be with us. They should be doing their own thing.
I love the cut. I love that cut. Like, hold on, I gotta scroll back because that was a hilarious cut.
Unfortunately, borderline criminal behavior, and it is not representative of all of our community. They shouldn't be with us. They should be doing their own thing.
Look at this. Look at this dude. Hey? Oh my god. Somebody's got to
freedom of speech and freedom to be. As long as they don't act on what they believe, and that is to have sex with children, then they have a right to be here.
Oh, they have a right to speak. You can say and advocate whatever the fuck you want, okay? You can. But there are people in here that are not just talking about it. It's not some intellectual exercise. And also they're advocating for being able to do with it. Or being able to do it, rather. Sorry. I'm like fucking half a bottle of rye deep. Forgive me.
What would you do about this, man?
What would I do about it? I think the best thing to do about it is just to watch you guys very carefully and ignore the fact that you have issues, because children are not yours.
So children are their own, are they?
Children are their own, and they don't belong to you, and you don't need to have a campaign to get them.
That lady is 100% correct. This is about legalizing predatory behavior. It has nothing to do with relationships. It has nothing to do with meaningful relationships. Like, that is a fucking complete fantasy that exists inside of their heads. It's not real. It's not real. They try to sell it as that. That lady got that dude dead to rights.
Business comes first. Yeah. They think there's a buck out there.
They don't seem to understand that there's more bucks with straight people, more bucks in a straight person's pocket than there are gays, but just by the numbers. Okay.
Right now, I think we're at the very turning point of the homosexual revolution has gone to its peak, and now it's starting to take the curve down. They realize the importance of NAMBLA to their cause because they're all dying of AIDS. They don't reproduce children, so they are forced to recruit children. And the best way of recruiting children is to have them broken in, as it were, by child molesters.
I don't know about you. It's pretty outrageous. But when I was growing up, if there was any man, adult, talking to a young child about having sex with him, that person wouldn't be in the neighborhood anymore. Right.
Yeah, it's like people kind of value the innocence of children. Didn't act like it was some sort of fucking game.
Yeah. I think that children should be treated in a different way in this society. I think that children are human beings that need respect, love, and recognition. And
It has nothing to do with them sucking your dicks there. All of those things are true, and none of them have to do with fucking having sexual relationships with an older man. None of it. None of it. I mean, just the fucking audacity of these people. It's these fucking childless, lonely, fucking perverted old men. You are not respecting the child if you not let them make these decisions for themselves to come to my house, to come to my studio and let me paint them. Let me paint them. As Saint Valentine with his dick out.
I think they should be able to develop the way which you want to develop as a human being, as their essence should develop. Okay, be developed.
And the essence is, it comes into play when I pull out my Big Johnson and I come on their faces. And this is the essence of me, and I give it to them, and then they see the world differently, mostly a little gummy and foggy because of all the cum.
How
they
do
play
I
the
make
fucking
myself
Lolita
attractive
music?
to boys? Okay, I answered it by being yourself. You don't have to make yourself attractive to boys. You are just what you are, and boys react to you as another person would, and it's personal. It's nothing to do with age. It's nothing to do with you being attractive, trying to be attractive. Where are the boys? Boys are everywhere. You don't have. There's no one single place. There's the mall, the supermarket, the street, the sports event. You just.
He's like, they're everywhere. Listen. The world is my garden. The world is my garden, and I will pick a flower from any beautiful garden that I come across. You see.
To be friends with boys, you don't have to think about sex. Even just think about friendship. Okay. If sex will come, fine. If it doesn't will come, then you remain friend. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how you feel, Rodrigo. Fucking unreal.
Renato is an Italian teacher. On his free time, he likes to paint.
Of course he's a teacher. Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? Perfect profession. Like another, I mean, this right here, it completely blows up all of the arguments that they make. All of the intellectual arguments. This is completely about grooming. This is completely predatory. This idea like, oh, you'll be friends with them, and if sex doesn't happen, you're just whatever. You're just friends with them. That is not at all. I don't think that would be acceptable to these fucking perverts at all. I don't. I really don't.
Times will change, and your oppression will end. If you're a man, be safe, be brave, and above all, be proud to be a boy lover.
Why would you be proud? What is there to be? Is there a reason to be proud of some sort of innate, uncontrollable sexuality that you have? Like, do you get to claim pride for something that you can't control? This is something I've always had a problem with when it comes to this shit. I mean, even just talking about like gay, lesbian, trans, whatever. It's just like, what if that's who you are? Like, you can accept like pride for that. Like, I don't know. It's like when I talk to people throughout my life, and people that I've met, they're all like, hey, dude, sorry I'm an asshole. I'm from Massachusetts. You're like, go fuck yourself. Fuck you. You're from Massachusetts, so that gives you the green light to just be a prick. Go fuck yourself. Oh no, dude, sorry, I'm Irish. I get crazy when I drink. I'm Latin. I got a fiery temper. Go fuck yourself.
If you are so brave, why don't you answer the phone, Renato? We know you are there. Do not be afraid. Be brave. Are you afraid of us?
It's Antonio Banderas from Interview the Vampire. That's who's calling him right now. Would you like to come to the dark masquerade?
Fucking pussy. You fucking wuss. You fucking baby fucker. Remember, you are a baby fucker. You are a sexual deviant. You are mentally disturbed. If this was a sane society, you would be shot. But since we're living in a perverse society, animals like you are allowed to exist. Leave the kids alone, Renato. Leave the kids alone.
Am I supposed to feel bad for this fucking dude? Did you hear his fucking incoming, the message when people call him? Why would I feel bad for him?
I've never been a child molester in my life. I've never been arrested, trialed, or even indicted for any kind of crime. Not
I just advocate for it. I just advocate for it. I just talk to the people that want to fuck the boys,
And this slanderous things that I found home, when I came home, I found it. And I'm not a child molester, I've never been.
So what do? You're just waiting around for the utopia to develop where you can just fuck kids. You just fuck young boys. You're a boy lover, dude. Be proud of it. Okay, if you're a young boy, don't be afraid. Do not be afraid of the creepy middle-aged men that will approach you. We will buy you a hot soup. We will get you a shot of heroin. And we will be together.
Child molester, I will never be a child molester, and I'm against child molester. Because
Well, what do you think he thinks child molesting is? Is it when they don't consent? They're too dumb to consent, so that's when you become a child molester? It's only when they come onto you. Then it's fine. Then it's okay. That's like a beautiful mare backing up to your crotchal region.
I'm a child lover, a boy lover, okay? And then we love and molestation don't go together. I wish boys good things, not horrors and not violence and not ugly things like such as this.
You see, my attitude is, I saw them as very pathetic, very sad when they came out of their meeting June 6th. And we have photos of them, and they were shamed. There were about 75 of us marching behind them, yelling out, baby rapers, and all the windows were lifting up, and they were passing by a schoolyard, which is a typical scene where they
The background, Whitney Houston's fucking I Will Always Love You is playing. And that's giving me life.
To pick up children, and their heads were down, and they knew they got caught. They knew they were doing wrong. Okay, I felt no anger for these people. I felt sad for these sick people. But on the other hand, if ever I caught any of them in the act. If I was just, let's say, fortunate.
Bingo, bango, dango, then done.
And that's a promise.
Come on up! Show your faces, and everyone wants to meet you. We're gonna have a block party. Come on up, baby raper! Baby raper! Ronaldo, come on up!
It's like to ask to a heterosexual man, what does he find attractive in a woman? Or it's like saying somebody, you know, I like shortcake, strawberry shortcake. Why do you like a strawberry shortcake instead of an apple pie? It's very difficult. I don't know. I would try to by saying that the freshness of their mind, the nimbleness of their bodies, the way in which they move, they act, the gracefulness of them.
My soul spirit being freed, because adults are so, they have to stay within their little norm and perfectness, and they never can show their enthusiasm for life. So I like to get out whenever I can.
Hang out with the kids.
For life.
What a fucking dirtbag. Like, all of the people they've profiled are literally, they just exhibit the most basic signs of predatory behavior. There's nothing that you can say to defend any of this. Like, that Todd Nickerson dude is a fucking tip of the iceberg. Like, these guys are like if Todd Nickerson was honest.
I don't really want to go over to the playground, because there's a lot of people there, a lot of mothers, all they need is one reason to say.
Yeah, because a homeless guy watching out fucking skulking around their kids is disconcerting. I know, because it happens where I live. And I have to be like, hey, dude, go be a crackhead somewhere else, please.
Say that if I touch this, if I don't even touch a kid, they can say that I touched this kid, and then I go to jail, I get arrested. So it's like, pure bullshit. I don't want to be around.
I'd really like to, but I didn't do it. Yeah, so I just walk around the block of the Boys Club of New York.
He's probably thinking about the
looking for
erection
strange
that I'm getting right now. But it's he's not thinking about it, but he knows that it's going on, or maybe he's getting one. I don't know, something like that.
So he draws
Chuck is an artist.
boys and gets bonus.
He feels there needs to be an alternative to NAMBLA's methods of doing things.
What does that look like down there?
Where?
Is this an illegal drawing or what? Oh my God! I'm drawing an illegal drawing. Oh no! Take a good close look there now. What is that down there? Oh my God! The horrid genitals. But they have a personality.
I'd like to be able to have an orgy with young dudes and teenage guys.
It's like the fucking guy from American Movie. What's his name? I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head. That's who he reminds me of. Fucking no, it's Coven, dude.
Guys and maybe older men with big beards and big hairy chests.
I just kind of want it all. I just kind of get fucked into oblivion. And also be a creep.
Maybe they'll find it today or tomorrow, or maybe they'll find it 10 years
look,
from
see?
now.
Oh, look. Oh, he's passing his fucking child pedophile pornography, hiding it in library books, probably as a drop for somebody to find. How wonderful.
And maybe some of the people might even be interested in having a discussion, because a lot of the stuff is going to have my address on it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of interested in awakening weird desires of people randomly.
Footprints, footprints. I spy them there. I see them here, taking interest in those smallish, those I step in with care. Those smallish ones, the tracks of boys, those footprints, like painted fingerprints. I step in, enjoy!
Holy shit.
Each time stepping, almost touch.
Holy
Each time
shit.
stepping, such footprints, footprints. Ah, such footprints. I'm glad there
Whoever
still
was
is.
recording this on the back end, because this is like a re-recording of re-recording. This used to be on YouTube. I don't know what happened to it. I think it's called Chicken Heads. That might be a different one though. But anyways, so if you see like sometimes it pops up, because this is somebody literally doing a screen record and re-uploading this. They're also checking. They're like, how much longer is this?
Something we far away can adore.
Excuse me, sir. Can I give this to you by chance? It's towards a further dialogue. You can read about what it's about. Check it out, man. Yeah. They give a nice smile, don't they, right now? As soon as they find out what it is, and they go, oh, wait a minute. What is this crap?
They don't like adults to mess with kids.
Right,
of
right.
anything.
They don't think that kids can be consent, but in this society, you'll notice in this society that there's woman-boy love movies all over the place, and I can tell you a whole bunch of them. If you ever heard Blame It on
but
Rio,
grown-ups should leave kids alone and let them grow up and then decide.
If you want to let kids be
grown-ups should
kids,
be with
then we
grown-ups.
should allow genuine. Well, see, age is an
Is that
abstract.
Jamie Lee Curtis? Look at this inarticulate fucking goon. There's boy love movies. There's boy love movies with women. No, not really. Not to the degree that you're talking about, buddy.
For one, and so is childhood. So it's all been constructed by society. Go for it. I love to just be with people and share life with people, and sexuality comes along as that comes along. But with kids, it doesn't come along in this country. I'll never break the sex hysteria laws because I will fight. I want to fight and stand up to the hysteria and do what I can in my life. If
This guy would like to be at one of these, Big Ben's birthday parties or whatever. He wants to get his ass in a swing and just get filled.
my life is short, I still want to be able to stand up and do what I feel is in my heart to do.
Why isn't the fanboy love movies on a lot of this society, I wonder? WNBC about putting NAMBLA down, they got overpowers.
An organization that advocates...
Like, you probably have something wrong with you if you are willing to go out and put yourself out like that, honestly. You probably have some sort of... like, you lack a level of self-awareness. That's pretty big.
The sexual molestation of young boys. John Miller's here with details.
From this nondescript building, NAMBLA runs its listed telephone number and some of its mailing. On a Saturday in November, we watched as boxes and boxes of literature were loaded in...
The audience were calling, and in the majority actually were supportive. And some of them...
I don't believe you at all, fuckface. I don't believe when Inside Edition did a profile that, like, they were supportive of us. They wanted us to take their children and they empathize and they say, oh, you don't want to hurt them unless they want to engage with you. I understand.
Also kids, 4 or 5 different kids for 14, 15, 16 years of age call in and express themselves. I didn't know at the beginning. I didn't know.
He loves it too. He's like, oh, these teenagers, they call in and they say they want my hot fucking Italian cock, and I say, okay, well, who am I to deny them this pleasure? Who am I to deny them this? It's me, the Pope of the pedophiles, you know?
They were that young, but they express themselves with a way of saying that young people has, you know,
Like, you have to be fucking insane to think that's what's happened. You gotta be a little off. You gotta be fucking crazy, in my opinion.
You know, cool man, you know, things like that. And you know, when you're talking with
Cool
the kids, you know,
man.
that's the age. So I'm 14. Okay, good. And I think you are great. And I think I like you. I like you. The show. And keep up, man. Keep up. Don't let them scare you.
Belief is everyone should have a belief worth dying for. If you don't have a belief worth dying for, then you don't believe in anything. And as far as I'm concerned, you're a coward, and I don't want you around me. And I really feel that most parents, without hesitation, will fight and die for their children. And when push comes to shove, homosexuals get tired of it. There'll be no incentive for someone else's children.
And they tried to do this thing, this documentary that's kind of pernicious, is that they want to tie homosexuality into pedophilia. Now, granted, I do think that there is a lot of pedophilia that goes on in the homosexual community. I think that there is. In the same way that, like, men are predatory towards young girls, I think they are. If you're gay, you're probably predatory towards young men. And I do think that happens. I do. I think I've heard enough stories, anecdotally, I've seen enough data to suggest that, like, that's a problem in that community. And especially when it comes to young, vulnerable, malleable guys. They totally get sucked in by this shit. I talked earlier in the stream about running with scissors. You can go find that for yourself. That would be a case study in terms of just the normalization of the idea that, like, a NAMBLA-esque pedophilic relationship happened, and then they put all the responsibility on the kid. They don't, like, accept it themselves. It's just bizarre behavior.
I just want to be able to walk down Fifth Avenue, okay, and see adults and children mingle together and go into a theater, go to a restaurant. I like to see children, like they do in Egypt or another country.
People want to think of every pedophile as being like a Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy, and we're not.
No, they don't. They don't think that every pedophile is a serial killer. They don't. You're just a fucking psychopath. If you think people think that, like, they think that you want to abuse their children, brainwash them, groom them. That's what they think.
I mean, those are a few sick individuals that you see, on television, on the news, or whatever. But
oh my God, they're, like, showing all their names. Like, this Bill Bickley dude didn't really say much and did not name himself. Ugh.
I mean, there's far less of them than there are.
Bill Hader, his newest character, pedophile guy.
Guys that are out there, hurting women.
I'm sort of a borderline egomaniac, you might say. I've done a lot of things in my life. I was able to maintain myself pretty well up until about 1.5 years or 2 years ago. And then I got into some problems and wasn't able to do what I had been doing. Basically what I was doing was a visually oriented activity. I don't even know if I should say.
You're jerking off.
Basically, I was doing something that I really, really did not want to be doing, which was looking at people through their windows. And
what do you say to people who join because they want to meet boys?
Let's see. Can we go off camera here for a second?
Well, there you have it, folks. I am so sorry. The depth of creepiness on that was to a degree that I did not understand. Like I said, I didn't really know what we were getting into. We were just gonna go for it. We were just gonna figure it out together. That was an unpleasant experience. Wildly unpleasant experience. But I think it's an important one to have, honestly. You cannot listen. That was from 1993, and those people are just more and more embedded with this shit, and how they discuss these things, how they rationalize it, how they feel about it. You need to see, because these are people in a rare time you're going to see the honesty from them. You don't get to experience that most of the time. Like, you don't get to experience their honest opinions, their hopes, wants, desires. That's not like something that you get to hear all the time. You need to hear that, and you need to sit with it, because that's some fucked up garbage.